over, but let's see what Sean has to say.
All right, joining us right now is the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, our friend Coach Sean McVay. Sean, how you doing, man?
Doing good. How about you guys?
Excellent.
We're excellent, Coach. And how about that? Like, fans will – Mason went to the game, and we texted right after, and he said, this was an encouraging loss. And I think that's something fans do. They look at things like encouraging. But as a coach, I would imagine you there's no moral victories in your business. Can you have an encouraging loss in your mind?
Yeah, I don't know if I look at it like that as much as encouraging things to be able to build on. And that's whether we win or lose. And I thought there was a lot of really good examples of high-level ball. And then what you appreciated is against an excellent team like that, the margin for error is really small. And there's a couple moments in that game where there was an opportunity for things to pivot in our favor or for us to continue to play good complementary ball. We didn't quite get it done. You credit the Niners for doing it, but what I am encouraged about is all the things that you're looking at are all very fixable and correctable. It's not like you're looking at it and saying, man, I don't know what we do to solve some of these things. And that was what was encouraged, is the things that pivoted. And I came on when you guys were talking about a couple plays, but I thought there was a key sequence, whether it be the 2 minute at the end of the half after we score and then we give up a touchdown, or even our first drive coming out of the second half when we've got a 3rd and 5, we get tackled just short of the sticks. Maybe we go for it across midfield. And then when it's a 17-17 game and we're going in to score, we really get a holding call where we would have been inside the 20-yard line. That it's a tough deal, but Ronnie Rivers makes a great run. They move us back. First down and 20, we go 4-yard gain. And then on second down, Matthew does a great job, and it's kind of an unfortunate tip that goes in the other hands, and then they end up flipping that for a 6-point swing that goes to a 20-17 instead of at a minimum. I think we're up 20-17. And so what a great opportunity for us to be able to learn from and grow from. I love working with this team, and I love the way that they came in the next day with the right spirit, and that's all you can ask for.
So what really happened with Cam Akers?
What really happened was that, we wish him the best and that we are moving forward as a team, and I'm grateful for the contributions that he made. I don't think I want to be able to get into those things, and it doesn't really do us any good looking back on that stuff.
Can't blame me for asking, right, Coach?
Oh, no, I respect that. I respect that.
We're talking to Sean McVay. Okay, Sean, let me ask you about Puka Nacua. And you used to be a receiver, so you know this. Like, receivers can be like golfers. They can be like go on a wild hot streak, and you can where everything's breaking right, and you're in sync with the quarterback. But this is 2 weeks in a row where this guy looks like Cooper Kupp. And I don't want to put that pressure on him and say that he's an MVP caliber player yet, but I'm incredibly encouraged by this guy. Are we looking at a guy who's had a great 2 weeks, or are you already at the point where you have confidence in going to this guy anytime? Is Puka Nacua, is he on track to be an all-pro caliber player, or is it too soon to say that?
I think, he's done an excellent job through the first couple weeks, and that's been consistent with the type of camp and off-season he's had. He's a very mature player, but there's a lot of guys. I love Puka, and I love the way that he's played through 2 weeks. I love the way Tutu Atwell's played through the first couple weeks. And so there's been a lot of encouraging things from this team, but Puka is a really fun guy to coach, great guy to be around. His teammates love him. He's got a great competitiveness. He plays with a toughness and an edge, and so we got to be able to keep it up, but I've loved what he's done, and I know he's got a great rapport with Matthew, and that's super important to us.
Sean, when Cooper comes back, and I'm thinking optimistically that you will get him back soon, does Puka's role change? Is he, in essence, right now playing the role of Cooper Kupp, or in your offense, is there no defined roles? Matthew just throws it to who's ever open.
Yeah, no, I look at it as we're using 5 eligibles. And, usually a lot of the times we've got 11 personnel, which you guys know represents 3 receivers, 1 tight end, and one running back. And so our receivers end up being interchangeable. And so whether that's right now Puka, Van, and Tutu, those guys are able to play different spots. They know our offense, and you can kind of move them around. And Cooper is certainly one of those guys that can play all over the formation, but I think there's things that they can both do really well, and there's certain things that, Cooper's obviously a really special player, so we can't wait to get him back.
Yeah. What is his – he would be eligible to come back for the Philly game. Do you think he's on track?
That's the hope. I want to be careful to – the goal was putting him on IR with the goal of him hopefully feeling good and having a patient rehab process that enables him to return in week 5. But we still got a little bit of time to be able to get that answer, but that's the hope and optimism. But I don't want you guys to kind of hold me to that, but that's what we're hoping.
Okay, let me ask you about the offensive line, which has been a dramatic improvement over last year. Last year you had so many different offensive line combinations. This group has looked really good, but the one thing, at least to my eye, when Joe Noteboom left that game with, I think, a shoulder injury, the offensive line seemed to crack a little bit. Did you see the same thing, and what's the status of Joe Noteboom?
Here's what I would say. Joe's feeling good. There was one play in particular that we had a little bit of miscommunication on a protection when Warner had the sack, but I thought Tremaine Ankrum came in and did a nice job. There were some instances where towards the latter part of the game, once we ended up turning it over with 7 minutes left and they went up 10, the game kind of pivoted where you're more in a 2-minute mode and mentality, and that's not the kind of world you want to live in against an excellent defense and especially a rush like that. And so there's inevitably going to be a little bit more challenging looks and some more stressful downs for the offensive line based on when it was a 7-point game, and then we ended up having that second turnover that enabled them to go up 10. So I would say I was pleased with Tremaine Ankrum. The line has done a really good job. We got to continue to improve as we do as a team, but I love the way those guys are competing, and they're playing with an edge and a toughness that we want to see.
Sean McVay is our guest. Sean, for the second week in a row, you're going up coaching this week when you go to Cincinnati against one of your friends. Zach Taylor used to work for you. Now he's the head coach of the Bengals. Has done a great job there. I know you met him in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. But I'm curious, you went up against Kyle Shanahan last week. You're going up against Zach Taylor this week. Is it more fun or less fun going up against one of your friends? If you had a choice, would you rather not, or do you enjoy going head-to-head with somebody you know and respect like Zach?
Well, as much as people like to have fun with that, it's about our teams, and it's about the players and us trying to put those guys in the right spots. And so what I think is a cool blessing and a really fun thing you don't take for granted, especially just growing up around this game, is how fortunate I feel that to have so many of my close buddies that we've been able to kind of share with one another and kind of be able to help each other grow that are in positions that we are. That's not something you take lightly. I mean, this is such a competitive league, and there's 32 opportunities for these jobs. So I look at it as an amazing thing to be able to say that, in consecutive weeks you're matching up, and there's going to be other games later on where you're saying you're going against friends that you've, whether it's guys you've worked with or close relationships you've established from being in this business. And those are things that you never take for granted, but it certainly is about the Rams versus the Bengals.
Coach Sean McVay is with us, Mason and Ireland, 710 ESPN. So I'm just curious about this. I'm just going to throw this out there. So we're on every day from 1 to 4, Mason and Ireland. We've been here for 30 years. How much time do you spend listening to the Mason and Ireland show? Be honest, if at all.
You really want my honest answer?
Honest answer, Coach.
This is the most fun I have listening to this call in these 9 minutes and 3 seconds that we've been talking.
There's the honesty.
Here's what I'll tell you. I respect the heck out of what you guys have to do, and you guys do a great job, and I've certainly heard the show before, but I try to be really disciplined, particularly in the season, of not really paying attention to stuff unless it's necessity for the job I have to do, because whether it's good or bad, I don't like to ride the emotional roller coaster, because I've actually done it before, and I feel the difference is whether it's, hey, if you read it, you see it, you feed it, whether it's good or bad. And so,
there you go.
While I really appreciate all the things that is brought to attention and what a cool thing it is to be in these roles, I think it's really important to be mindful of the stuff that you put into your being and try to be consistent in in the things that you want for your team in this role, because you can get caught up in it and ride a wave that you don't want to do. You know how I know that? Because I've been there before, guys. I've been there.
Yeah. All right, Sean, last thing for me, I have a thank you for you. Last week I asked you about my dog Murphy, who had eaten 4 TV remotes, and you said that it was
get a trainer.
Yeah, that it was my problem, not the dog's problem, that I needed to take ownership and coach the dog up. So after I left that day, because you and Veronica have a dog, and you said, look, man, you got to get that dog in line, I went back and I took one of the remotes that he'd already chewed up, and I dropped it at his feet, and we're going to work on this for an hour until you don't go to the remote. And I coached him. 5 straight days, Coach. No remote damage. I think I got it out of him, and it's all thanks to you, so thank you.
That's outstanding. Now, you stop coaching him, he's going to start eating that remote again, so you make sure you got to keep coaching him.
Okay.
Coach him up. Coach him up.
I'll do it.
All right, last thing for you. I know you've answered this question a million different ways, so I'm not going to ask. But our afternoon guy, Scott Kaplan, said the other day he wanted us to play this question for you and get your reaction. So here's Cappy.
Coach, in today's day and age where gambling is such a part of the sport, are you, as coaches, aware of the spread?
There's the question.
What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, no, I am not aware of that. And here's the thing, and I understand the convenient narrative, and I heard that was a bad beat for some people, and certainly that was never my intention. We want to compete to the last second, and what I was hoping to be able to do was actually hit an in-breaking route about a minute before, kick the field goal, and then try to have an attempt for an onside kick. Once we realized after we got the ball clocked when we hit Puka Nacua on the 3rd and 2 for about 17 seconds, you're asking yourself, all right, do we launch a go ball up, all right, with 4 seconds left, or do we want to be able to kick a field goal? And my mindset was, let's go kick the field goal. It was already a 10-point game. And didn't want to leave, really Matthew or any of our guys on offense susceptible to an unnecessary injury, just heaving something up. And so it felt like wanted to compete to the last minute. But that was kind of the intent, and so we just kind of stuck with that. But ideally, we would have been able to get that field goal off before. And no, I'm not aware of, the lines and things like that.
Got it. All right. Well, listen, I didn't think so. So coming up, Coach, Monday night, Cincinnati, really excited for the game. National TV. Have a great week. And by the way, are you going to Joe Burrow's sort of questionable, right? You don't know if he's going to play or not?
Yeah, we got to prepare for Joe. He's a phenomenal player. They've got very capable guys behind him, but we've got to prepare for Joe. And then whenever we find out, it might be 90 minutes before kickoff, or it might be before. But ultimately, we've got to prepare for a phenomenal All-Pro quarterback in Joe Burrow.
Awesome. All right.
Hey, Sean, thanks for doing this. We always look forward to it. Go get a win.
All right, thanks, guys.
Hey, there you go. Sean McVay,
I applaud
listening to
him
Mason in Ireland.
for being dead honest about that.
Me
that he
too.
listens for those 9 minutes when he's with us, and that's it.
Hell, he's here.